So Karen asked a wonderful question about what to do with clients who come in and they kind of don't have any autonomy because of the way they've been treated by the medical system. They may not have any hope, they may not have any goals, and they want the coach to tell them what to do. Just tell me what my goals are, tell me what to do, and they're not taking any responsibility. They've been pushed pills or procedures their whole lives, and they have never been encouraged to take matters into their own hands, to have agency. So a bunch of thoughts. First one is, physiologically, they're probably in a state that we would call autonomic nervous system collapse, which you're going to learn about in lesson 2, which is to say they don't have a lot of energy, and it's not a matter of thinking themselves to a different place. In their nervous system itself, in their body, they feel defeated and collapsed. So imagine going to a shelter, an animal shelter, and you want to rescue a dog, and that dog has been mistreated. It's not going to come bounding up to you and lick your face and wag its tail. It's going to be afraid based on prior experience. So in a sense, we want to think about clients like this in terms of what they may have endured, and we want to show that we're different. So begin not with cognitive or emotional solutions, but simply with your presence, with kindness, with listening, with affirming, with empathy, so that they gradually come to trust you and have a little bit of a bond with you. And that can already start to change the dynamic, because it's possible that no one in the healthcare system has ever treated them with respect before. That really, not just sort of politeness, but really taking them seriously. So begin there. The next thing is, one of the ways out of this place of autonomic fold is through movement, through engagement in the world. If they're sitting there sort of slumped with very low prosody in their voice and not making eye contact or kind of glassy eyes and not much expression and not much energy, you might ask them just simply like rub your hands together or get up and stamp their feet a couple of times, just like, and do it with them. Hey, let's bring some energy to this conversation. And it might, in some settings that might be weird, but certainly you could ask someone to just engage with their body, look around the room, take a couple of energizing breaths, and that can already begin, changing the physiology can already begin to change the mental and emotional state. The next thing I would do once they are at a place where their body is receptive is I would talk to them about their values. If they have no goals, what are their values? You can print out a sheet, you can find anyone on the internet, list of values, courage, confidence, kindness, family, God, all sorts of things. You can show them the sheet and ask them, how they would like other people to describe them. And then you can ask them, how does that relate to their health issue? How does that relate to their journey? How does that relate to their goals? If they were living those values, what might that look like? Next thing is, if they really don't know, you can suggest general things. You can say, well, so in my experience, a lot of folks like to, go on this journey to have less pain in their body and more mobility and more flexibility and resilience and more stamina. Would that be, how does that sound to you? And if they say it sounds good, you say, great. So let's explore. What might that look like in a year if you had all those things? If you were full of energy and you weren't hurting and you could move more, what might you do with that? What might an average day look like that would be great? Or what might a special occasion or a trip look like? And then you can get them, if you give them a little bit of a head start, then they can begin to fill in the details. So this is a good place to use a technique called motivational interviewing, which is really about curiosity to help your client understand their own motivation, their own map. So like, what is the treasure that they want? Why do they want it? What does it mean to them? And so with questions where you're listening for signs of excitement, signs of, yes, this is something I'd want to go for. Now, depending on how long you're coaching them, you might have different strategies. If this is just a one-off, if you're working in a hospital and they've been sent to you for nutritional counseling and you have like a 120-minute shot, there's only so much you can get done. Right? Where if you have a longer-term relationship, you can kind of take it slower and really focus on building the relationship, on helping them feel good, helping them feel heard, helping them feel that there's possibilities. And then once we have the goal, we want to quickly transition away from the goal into the action plan, into the steps. It's like a tightrope walker going between two tall buildings. first they want to set up where the end of the tightrope is. They want to make sure it's tied securely and there's somewhere they want to get to and they can get to. Once they've done that, I think they should probably look down at their feet every so often to make sure that they're taking the right steps in the tightrope. So that's what we want to do. We want to help them focus on what are the action steps. And we're going to get into this in great detail. I believe it's in lesson 13 of this coaching pillar 2. But know that like the goal is just to get them moving, and then focusing on the action plan is often much more effective because it involves the here and now rather than some hypothetical in the future. So I hope this helps.